Hi everybody, this is a video on what Git is and why you should use it. This is part one in a playlist of how to get set up and acquainted with Git and learn to use it, and I hope it will be short, sweet, and to the point. If you are a previous subscriber to my videos, this is a remake of a previous video that was extremely long, and I'd like to make it a little bit shorter just so that everyone can watch it and find it a little more palatable. So without getting too much into what Git is or how it works, I'm going to start by motivating you, I hope, with why you should use it. So if you are a System of Systems Lab team member, you want to use it because that is the available option. So we have multiple project repositories, and Git is just the tool that we use to do all of our code integration. So you kind of don't have a choice, and I hope you will learn to like Git anyway. There are lots of good tutorials on Atlassian if you want to get ahead of these videos. But all in all, it's a very powerful tool, and I hope you can use it in your everyday life as well. Case in point, this is my Git repository, so I have many. There are 11 here. I use them to maintain all of my configuration files, my resume, and some other general stuff. So to show you kind of the use case why you'd want to use Git, it's to avoid things like this. If I go in here and then 15. So before anybody comments on the fact that Git only works on flat files and not binary files, I understand that. The point of this is just to show you what we're trying to get away from. So you see there's this one presentation. This whole folder is for one presentation, and we have 5 files that are all different versions of the same thing, and depending on how you name them or how your friends working on them with you name them, it's hard to know what the most recent one is, what changes are introduced in any of those, and generally is a bunch of clutter that you really don't need and you can get away from. And the way you do that is with Git. As an option, of course, you'd have to use Beamer or some other LaTeX thing if you were doing a presentation. But for code or anything that's a text file or text-based sets of files, Git's a great tool. It's a command line tool, which is why you'll probably get used to seeing my command line here. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how easy it is to get started. So first, this is my kind of home. This is my Git where all of my stuff is. I'm going to actually create a new folder here. We're just going to call it demo repo. Sure. And inside of that folder, I'm going to do the one command that you need if you want to keep track of, let's say, your notes, for example. So I'll do git init bear shared group. So you don't actually need the shared group if it's just you using it, but if you plan on sharing with anybody else, then you'll want to have it there. We have all the stuff there that we need. And just as a point of order, I'm going to show you. These are my notes. This is all managed across all of my machines using Git. And for example, all of my Linux notes are here. I got a file for each one. And I use that for example, when I want to go figure out how do I connect to, the Purdue network or some other secure network. I got a file here that's got my notes for that. I got files for, how do I set up my keyboard? How do I do all these kinds of stuff? How do I do printing? I save all of it this way. You could do that for class notes, and anything with Markdown especially makes a great application for using this. And you can put it on any computer that runs Linux or Windows, or really just that it can run Git to begin with. So if I go back to our demo repo here, I'm going to do, well, first, I tried to make this once already, and the video turned out kind of crummy. So we're trying that again. So I can do git clone demo repo, my Git repo, and I have something that's empty, which is fine, but I may want to put something in there. So let's make a README. Sorry, git status, that's what you want. So it says, hey, you have one file, it's not tracked, what do you want to do with it? So in the very first use case when you're using Git, you have to create a branch, or rather you have to make the master branch and make it a remote. So without knowing exactly what that is, because you don't have to do it, I'm just going to do it for us here, git put, or rather starting a repo, push u origin master. So now I have a Git repository, and the thing that's nice about this is when I do git status, it says, hey, there's nothing to do, you haven't made any changes. Anytime I want to start making some changes, like let's say I want to add a new section, I could do git checkout -b new section, and this shows, as you look here, even at my my command line, and this happens for Windows Git Bash as well. It says, hey, you're on a branch that's called new section of this current repo that you're on. So let's say that I want to edit this README. Adding section 1. So I've made some changes. Maybe I have to go do a meeting, something like that. I can see, hey, there's one file that's there, and I could say git commit all my stuff, starting a new section. So I go to my meeting, and I come back, and I say, well, what was I doing? Oh, it must have been done. Let's look at the log, and it says, oh, I was starting a new section. That's what I was doing. So if I go back and edit the README, I can do, well, yeah, sure. Line 1, and I'm going to save it. I'm actually going to open up another command line here so we can just do this as we go along. Git my Git repo, git status. So there's, I didn't save that. Git status. You can see, oh, there's one file changed. The contents of that file, I added a new line. Okay, so let's say that maybe I want to go ahead and add this here, so I'll git commit am, added a new line. And then, you know what? Maybe I want to do, I'm going to come in here and say, well, I'm going to add a test line. It's a new feature. Why not do it? Let's just do it. Status, diff. Okay, so I added this new line. Commit am, added a test line. So now I've got a couple of branches that are working. I have master. And if I look at the README, there's nothing in it because we haven't pushed it up to anybody. We haven't made it part of master. We're just doing our own work on our own. So what are all the branches that we have? We have a new section branch, so I can do git checkout new section. And then if I look at the README, you see I've got this section started, and then I have this other guy where I made this test line. Man, I don't even remember what I called it. Git branch. Oh, well, let's just do it. Git branch here. You like that better. So now I just see my local one. Test line. So it doesn't matter if I've worked on this for like an hour or for a day or something. I can look at this and say, you know what? That test line is just not really what I want. So I can always go back and delete it. I can go to, man, can't even type, new section. And then it's gone. It's not there anymore. I just have this current thing. Let me go in here and look at the README. So it's not there anymore. Added line 2. So let's say that we've got another line that we want. So there you can see my work from today, say that it's this new line. So you always have, kind of a save, if you will, that's a commit, and you have like the current status of the project, which is like whatever's in your master branch or whatever's pushed out. So you have this concept of staging and chunking up your work, which is really nice. Also means if I want to go clean all this up, so added another line. Status, you see that there's nothing that's in here, but I can do a rebase operation. This is like where all the power of Git comes in. This is, I'm gonna basically change the commits that I've made so far in this new test section to incorporate them into master. So let's say I rebase them onto master. You see I have a starting of a section. I have a new line, another new line. I'm just gonna squash those commits together. you can see what that means down here, where we're talking about squash commands, and I save the file. And then it's going to ask me to kind of reword this whole thing, and I can say, add in a new section for your consumption. Sure. And then I can do delete there, save it. I can check out master, merge the new section. So now if I look at the diff here, it says, hey, you made 3 new line changes. I look at the log, it says, oh, there was a starting repo, and then somebody made a new section. So all that stuff that I did, intermediate changes, I decided I wanted to try a thing, and then I didn't use it. You know, it's all very clean, and I can see exactly what's there. You know, I can go look and I can push that up for everybody to use, so that if I made another repository, let's say, I gotta check out, git clone. And let's make this U. You can go look at that. And there's one file. And there it is. So I look at the log. It says, hey, there's a new section that's in there, and it's this one thing. Well, here's the nice bit about if you do your homework and you do good Git practices that makes everybody's life really easy. I could be, you know, maybe off my rocker when I made this new section, and just you don't like it, you don't need it. We decide it's not good for the project in general. So what I can do is in one line, one change here, I can highlight, I got to do it this way. Okay. Git log. I can say this change right here is no good. So let me copy it. I can do git revert, paste that commit. And then I can say this was a no good idea. So now if I do git status, you'll see in my head by one commit, the log shows that, you know, someone decided this wasn't a good idea and exactly what commit it reverts. So your history is totally traceable. If I do git push and then I go to this other repository, your git repo, and I do git pull, those 3 lines are gone. We're all back to the same stuff, empty file, or wherever your current state was. But I still have the entire history of everything that has happened for this repository. I can, for example, I could check out and go see what that thing was. And I still have those things, so you as long as you commit and you keep a push repository, you never lose any information. All you do is progress your project in a way that is intelligible and smart for everyone who's working on it, and in a way that's totally transparent to end users. So especially if you're doing your own notes, I highly recommend you make yourself a Git repo, start using it, go play around with it. It's much more powerful than what I showed in this video. Of course, there are things like conflict resolution and things that are natively built in, but this is just a short demo for, you know, why you should get into Git, what it is, and I'll be back in the next video with how to get it set up. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.